I got my daughter, nearly adult, a new car 2 months ago. Her stepbrother, 19, has gone crazy about it and attempted to drive it, but my daughter made it clear that she doesn't want him to. He'd referred to it as our car and would get mad when my daughter decorated it with pink and added teddy bears and necklaces as decoration. He'd get angry and say that she was ruining their car and embarrassing him in front of his friends, although she never let him get inside of it. I asked my husband to talk to his son, but he said my daughter and I needed to chill. Fast forward to this past Friday. My daughter called me at work, saying her stepbrother took her car while she was upstairs after he demanded the keys and she refused. I called his phone, but he didn't respond, so I called my husband and told him what had happened. I told him that he needed to bring the car back or I'd have to call the police. He called his son and then called me back, saying his son was just taking it to go to the movies with his friends and would bring it back at 9 p.m. I couldn't wait. I repeatedly warned him to bring it back, but he stalled. I called the police and reported it stolen. My stepson was picked up from his location and brought to the local police station. We got the car back, but it was a mess. The decorations and toys in it were gone. My daughter didn't stop crying about it. My husband blew up at me on the phone for calling the police on his son and causing him to spend the night there. They both came home the next day, and a huge argument ensued with my husband saying that I made a mistake reporting the car missing and said I escalated this situation and that I was the one who created it and I should have gotten his son a similar car or at least told my daughter to share. Otherwise, we wouldn't be dealing with his son's temper tantrums. The house has been full of tension since then, and everyone's just mad at each other. I didn't want police involvement, but seeing my daughter cry, I just couldn't take it. Am I the idiot for reporting it missing, knowing it would cause my stepson issues and he'd be picked up by the police? He said he'd return it, so maybe I should have been more patient. Not the idiot. I love when the husband says you should have bought his son a car or told your daughter to share. I mean, he could have just taught his son not to be entitled or buy his own son a car if he's that worried about it. OP, hopefully he's learned his lesson. Probably not, but I'd just keep calling the cops if he takes or damages it. I was wondering why the adult son isn't buying himself a car. But Dad, she's ruining my car. Our car. Whatever. I want an Oompa Loompa, Daddy. Without teddy bears and pink girly stuff in my car. Stomping feet. The boy needs to go to the timeout corner. He's 19. He's a legal adult, and he stole from his minor step-sibling. He needs to man up and figure out this tantrum crap isn't going to blow over so easily. And now he's on the hook for legal consequences because he is, in fact, a legal adult. I can't stand it when people act as if it's someone else's fault if they or theirs are jealous. It's an immediate sign that people were not taught emotional regulation. They were given everything the moment they felt jealous or angry, or they were taught to blame others every time they had a feeling they didn't like, as if the world and others around them owed them happiness. Dad is one of those two types of parents for sure. You have a stepson problem, but you also have a husband problem. This adult son should have been shut down on day one by his father for acting like this was some joint ownership car. It was not his. It is not his. If he wants a car, he can get a job and buy one or beg Daddy for one. If Daddy can't or won't provide, it is not your responsibility to provide for his deficiencies. This is a hill to die on because it'll happen again if this 19-year-old man doesn't quit with his entitled behavior and keeps getting backed up by his father. That car was stolen and vandalized. Tearing down her decor on the inside for no good reason was spiteful and criminal. OP, you are the idiot for marrying and subjecting yourself, and more importantly, your daughter, to the environment created by your husband and stepson. Get a divorce and get them as far away from your daughter as possible. I, 28 female, am a mother of a wonderful preteen son. This whole thing happened last April, but I'm still getting complaints. So here I am asking strangers for a judgment on the internet. So last year was my kid's first year in big kid school, as he calls it, since his first grade coincided with the global issue. We are not in the best place financially, like most families. Our consumer debt piled on, and we're throwing every spare cent at it. So when it was time to throw him a party, I only invited 5 of his classmates, the ones he considered his friends. For the others, I sent 24 cupcakes and juice boxes to class. The invites were delivered to their houses and not in front of the other kids. As I said, money was tight, so I got creative. I made 9 small cakes, box cakes, vanilla, chocolate, and funfetti, and buttercream in different colors. Also made big sugar cookies in different colored frosting and sprinkles. And finally bought tortillas, made pizza sauce, and had a variety of toppings. I asked that the kids bring swimsuits and water guns. We had a make-your-own pizza station for lunch, and then they played with their water guns. Then they decorated their cakes and cookies to take home with them. That was a Saturday. Well, the next Monday, the kids would not stop raving about how fun the party was, how it was the best birthday party ever. The other kids were not happy not to be invited. At Pickup Tuesday, a couple of moms confronted me about not inviting their kids. I said that I was sorry, but it was a small party for his close friends only. They kept complaining about me excluding their kids. I didn't take it seriously then, but now it's a new school year, almost 6 months later, and I'm still getting the occasional comment thrown at me. So am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You invited 5 children. I'm honestly boggled at any parents who think it's okay to confront you about their child not being invited. That is absurd, honestly. In the real world, not everyone's going to get invited to everything. While it's never a fun lesson to learn, it's better to learn it early in life than to have a sense of entitlement that results in you acting like the parents in this story. If you'd invited 28 or 29 kids out of 30 kids in a class and just excluded 1 or 2, then that would be mean. But you had such a small number, and this wasn't about excluding anyone. It was just a very small gathering. That's normal and you did nothing wrong. It's a shame you're being treated so nastily over it. We would usually bring candy to school to share with the whole class, and then the party would be for close friends and family only. I don't know where this entitlement of demanding an invitation started, but not many people can feed and entertain 20+ children. It looks like some parents nowadays are special. So I, 26 male, have a long-standing friend group. Most of us have been friends since high school. This girl named Zoe, 25, has been part of the group since college. We've hung out plenty of times, but I would describe our relationship as casual friends. We follow each other on social media and talk in the larger group, but never one-on-one. She's friends mostly with the girlfriends, but I had a low-key crush on her. Some of the women in the group know, but have kept it to themselves for my sake. But last month I drank too much and messaged her late at night about possibly hanging out. She messaged me back in the morning and said she'd like to hang out more, but just as friends. I told her I understood, but I knew what that meant, so I never reached back out. So my parents own a bar. Typically, I will bartend there on the weekends before I go out. My friend group are regulars at the bar. I'll send out text about what specials we have that night and invite people to come. So I sent out a big invite and included Zoe in it. She shows up and immediately starts talking to me. I was working, so I just moved along. I charged her full price the whole night, and she started complaining to the other girls about it, which ticked me off. Yes, sometimes I will give free stuff out to my friends, but it isn't all the time. Yes, I used to hook Zoe up a lot, but that was before she said we were friends. Then the second thing that happened was I invited a girl to come to the bar to pregame with us before we went out. Zoe saw me talking to this girl and decided to introduce herself entirely out of the blue. Then those two started talking at the bar, and it slips out that Zoe and I used to be good friends until I asked her out. The girl I invited wasn't happy, and I had to spend the next hour explaining that away. So the next time the group went out, I sent Zoe a text and told her to please not show up. She's more than welcome to meet us later, but I didn't want to deal with her at my bar. Her friends showed up at the bar this weekend and asked me to talk. They said it was unfair not to invite Zoe because now she feels isolated. Our whole friend group hangs out there, so banning her is essentially banning her from the group. I said everyone could choose a different bar to hang out, and then they can invite whoever they want. But Zoe's weird and is causing issues, so it's her own fault. I've still been called an idiot, but my guys are on my side. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Yeah, dude. Zoe's not the one making it weird. You made an intoxicated late-night move on someone who you even seemed to acknowledge you didn't have any reason to believe returned your feelings. When that, predictably, didn't work out the way you wanted it to, you immediately revealed that your friendship was entirely built on the hope that you'd get to be with her, and you're surprised she's not happy about this? Or that you're alienating every other woman you know with how you're handling the situation? Not the idiot. People aren't entitled to free drinks. So yes, guys stop buying drinks when they find out they aren't interested, right? I'm really confused about why this is bothering people so much. They aren't close friends, only casual friends in a friend group, and he isn't pursuing her anymore, so he stopped buying her drinks. He isn't punishing her. Not getting free drinks from someone isn't a punishment. Getting someone free drinks is a nice thing, not an obligation. He wasn't mean, he wasn't nice. He just treated her like any other acquaintance. Agree. I'm a female. If I told someone I wasn't interested, I wouldn't expect to continue to get free drinks. He didn't ban her after she said no. He banned her after she tried to ruin his chances with another woman. Oh, Pete, you still invited her to go out that night after she rejected you. And she's making a big deal out of the whole thing. Introducing herself out of the blue? Why? Because you aren't giving her attention and free drinks? She shouldn't be starting drama. All right, let's get right into it. My wife, 33, and I, male 34, have 2 beautiful daughters. We're currently expecting and recently found out the gender of the baby. It's a girl. Again, no biggie, I love girls, and I'm beyond happy. We visited my in-laws to make the announcement after dinner. We were all seated at the table when my wife told us the gender of the baby. My mother-in-law looked disappointed and didn't even try to hide it. That's fine. Gender disappointment, or whatever they call it, is fine. People are entitled to their feelings. You can't control that, right? Shrugs. However, she gave me a look and then flat out said, "A girl? Again? Something seems off here." Turns to me. "You know that men are responsible for the gender of the baby, right?" I replied, "So? You think I must be doing something wrong or something?" She responded, "No, but I'm just being honest here." I responded with, "It's fine, really, they're kids. Why would their gender matter? I don't plan on inbreeding them." Suddenly everyone started laughing, and mother-in-law went completely quiet. She excused herself to the bathroom and stayed there for a while. Dinner got awkward, like really awkward, and we had to go home. My wife started getting angry calls from her mom about me embarrassing and humiliating her with the stupid joke I made at the dinner table. She said I disrespected her in her own home. I told my wife that her mom was blatantly trying to blame me. My wife said that technically her mom was right and that men are responsible for the gender of the baby. I said, "So what? We learned this at school. Why bring it up?" My wife suggested I apologize to her mom and she'll talk to her, but I refused. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. After my daughter was born, my ex thought it was a good idea to mention that he was disappointed the baby wasn't a boy and wouldn't carry on the family name. I told him that he could always hope she ended up an unwed mother and gave the baby her last name. He didn't think that was funny. Just because people are being more vocal about their gender disappointment now, thanks to gender reveal parties, doesn't make it okay. Preference for one gender over another and the related enforcement of gender roles does real damage to kids and society. We need to stop excusing people who express these feelings. Sure, people can't control their feelings, but they can control how they express them, especially around kids born the wrong gender. What's the end game with that comment? You've given her 2 beautiful, healthy granddaughters, with a 3rd on the way. Are you supposed to give your wife a divorce or pass to find another man to give her a boy, hopefully? Exactly. He's not intentionally denying his mother-in-law a grandson to be spiteful. He isn't returning on a promise to choose a boy this time. Blaming the dad for the gender of the baby is just as stupid as when they blamed the mom in the olden days. My mother had that attitude with my husband because our second son looked just like him. A total accusatory attitude that he looks like him and not me, as if he somehow made an intentional choice to have our son look like him and not me. Like, ma'am, neither of us had any control over the genes our baby got. I know it doesn't sound good, but hear me out. I, 57 female, have a beloved yellow lab, 5 female, and a son, 26. Last year, my poor puppy girl tore one of her ACLs where we were out on a hike. Seeing my poor girl limp broke my heart, and the vet told me the only option was ACL surgery. I, of course, paid the $15K to get her fixed up, despite it being a pretty big strain on my finances. But honestly, my dog's health comes first. My son is a successful kid for the most part. He works full-time and lives on his own. He just recently turned 26, and I told him numerous times he'll have to get his own health insurance, as he's not allowed to be on mine anymore. He kept telling me he knew this and would handle it. Well, last weekend, my son was playing in one of his soccer games, and he got into a bad accident on the field and ended up tearing his ACL. He's now demanding that I help pay for his surgery because he couldn't send one email to HR to enroll in his workplace's health insurance. He says that this is my fault for not reminding him often enough that he's not on my insurance. I want to help him, but honestly, we have no idea what this will end up costing, and I was still pretty strapped for my sweet puppy girl's surgery last year. Plus, the Hubs and I would like to retire in a few years, and I'm not sure we can do that if we take on who knows how much medical debt. My husband agrees with me, but the rest of my family's blowing up my phone and saying I'm a huge idiot for not paying for the same surgery for my son that I paid for my dog. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Firstly, your dog didn't have the option of getting her health insurance. Your son is too lazy to send one email is not your problem to fix. If your family's so worried about your son's surgery, then they can pony up the cash for it. OP, you didn't choose one or the other. The dog tore it first and you paid for the surgery. You expected your son to have his own health insurance through work. If you had chosen the dog over your son because the surgeries were at the same time and you could only afford one, I would see your son's frustration more. But this is a year later and you can't afford it. He didn't forget to enroll. He just didn't want to take the financial hit to his paycheck because health insurance is stupidly expensive. So he knew. He told you he knew with his words, and he's just unhappy with the very unfortunate consequences of a decision he made. Like many young folks, he probably thought health insurance was a waste of money, which it is until you need it.